Shalom, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, before we get this epistle started, I'd like to give all praises, honor, and glory to our beloved Heavenly Father and His only begotten Son, our beloved Lord and Savior, YAHAWAH BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI. Double honors as always to our beloved elder apostles and elder bishops of Great Millstone, who rule well, who teach well, who we learn the truth from daily, whether you're here for bearing sincere salutation as always to the rest of the hopeful elected of the nation of Israel, which consists of our sincere elders and Akim of Great Millstone, and the Akim on down that teach the likewise doctrine and all truth and sincerity with diligence, the speckled bird, Hebrews, the life foreigners scattered among the heathen, that look like the heathen, the sincere Akim of the nation of Israel, that rehearse the righteous acts of Yahawah Bahashaam Yahawashi in truth and sincerity, and the sincere Akwath, that listen in silence and meekness as the scriptures command to do so. And this is an article I seen earlier on first I saw the post on YouTube, so I went to check the news articles. So this is on NBC News. It says, Russia offered U.S. a deal for minerals in Ukrainian territory it seized. Russian officials proposed an agreement for the U.S. to make money off critical minerals and metals under Moscow's control. All right, so this is, I'm going to try to see going down. It says the article was dated for February 25th. 2025. Okay, and when you go to I had another article I wanted to show. Okay, where is it at? Yep. Okay, so we have the article that's dated for the Salaki Bibli Shah. All right, it said it was posted, I believe, an hour ago. But this one says, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said he is ready to sign a deal. He's ready to sign a deal to grant U.S. access to his country's rare earth minerals days after President Donald Trump publicly berated him at the White House. Okay, so the point of this is now it looks like it seems to be a particular little tug of war. And there's two different ways that this can go. If this is probably why Volodymyr Zelensky is now willing to potentially strike up a deal. But let me get more into this article. Salakia. It says, I'm going to start right here. Hours after the Oval Office class, Zelensky said he intended to sign a deal, telling Fox News host Bret Baier it would be the first step to security guarantees, but it's not enough, he added. The Trump administration has since pulled back from the talks, with Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent saying on Sunday that a deal was not at present on the table. It's unclear now. President Volodymyr Zelensky has thrown off the sequencing. So even right now, they still blaming Zelensky, even though the whole world, anybody who has eyes to see, can see that Trump and, J.D. Vance basically started the conflict. They basically, made it hostile. But anyway, he said in an interview on CBS, Face the Nation, what's the use in having an economic agreement that's going to be rendered moot if he wants the fighting to continue? President Trump wants a peace deal, Bessent said. This is how these Edomites do here in Babylon. They always talk about how they want to push peace, but they're basically warmongers. But anyway, the minerals agreement would set up a joint fund for the U.S. and Ukraine in which 50% of the proceeds from future investments in government-owned natural resources would be deposited. The framework agreement does not include a commitment from the U.S. to support the country militarily against Russia's invasion, an event that marked its third anniversary last week. See? So this right here is, Salakia. This right here shows, it gives you a better understanding of why. Now, granted, these are all Edomites, so we don't really care one way or the other. We just want, these prophecies to pop off, but it just goes to show you right here why the 10 horns of the beast shall hate the whore, because America has a bunch of dirty work behind them. They have shady deeds and treacherous activity. So Trump, like we already said before, Trump basically wants minerals from Ukraine, but he's not guaranteeing them continued military support in exchange for said minerals, So in Zelensky's court, he's looking at it like he's looking at it like he could easily get finessed Because if Trump and Vance been treating them like this thus far, and even before this, Trump was talking about withdrawing from NATO and all sorts of different crash out stuff, he would look crazy, before his people and these other nations if he would just kowtow and let himself get pressed out by Trump and give him minerals, but he doesn't get support. That's basically like you coming to it's just all there, man. But before I get more on this, let me get a precept. All right, I want to get it right here since Esau likes to be Esau. This is the book of Sirach, better known as Ecclesiastes, chapter 14, verse 10, and it reads, "A wicked eye envieth his bread, and he is a niggard at his table." Right, so when you get into a niggard, okay, one moment. All right, so this is niggard in the etymon online. It means mean or stingy person, a miser, okay? Like, brothers probably heard the term miserly before. It just basically means a person is cheap and, they stingy as hell. They'll have a lot of money and still be, stingy. Okay, so it says niggard, also with a variant of nigun of uncertain origin. Okay, it says the suffix suggests French origin, see ard, but the root word is possibly from earlier nig, meaning stingy. Okay, so point is, that's how Esau moves even at his own table. Okay, and his table is amongst his own people, the Edomites, the self-proclaimed so-called white man, because you have these so-called American, which are these, Babylon, the great Edomites, these modern-day Babylonians, and then you have the European Edomites. Okay, these different Edomites that have taken over these different regions of so-called Europe, which is actually the northern portion of Asia. But the point is, even amongst his own people, this is how Esau moves. Okay, Esau's basically been, these American Edomites have been bombing these different nations since the inception of America, since they've had the capabilities of, dealing with nukes. They've been bombing these different nations, and now, they still doing pretty much more of the same. But while even in their waning period, even as they grow weaker and weaker, they still want to resort to the same tactics. And these different nations, they caught on to it. The Lord put the spirit in them to catch on to it and move accordingly, at least start to anyway. So if the world sees that an ally of America is having wartime issues, and America is blaming the ally for the issue and siding with the enemy, who is also who's also an enemy that they basically have shared opposition against, that right there doesn't make America look, I would say, it doesn't make America look mentally stable on a geopolitical scale, to say the least. Now, going back to the article, it says the minerals agreement would set up a joint fund for the U.S. and Ukraine in which 50% of the proceeds from future investments in government-owned natural resources would be deposited. The framework agreement does not include a commitment from the U.S. to support the country militarily against Russia's invasion, an event that marked its third anniversary last week. Trump suggested Friday evening that he did not want to provide the country with more weapons as part of the minerals agreement because it would not get the U.S. closer to his immediate goal of bringing the war to an end. He said earlier in the day before the dispute with Zelensky that he was willing to arm Ukraine, but was looking to advance peace talks. Instead, Trump has said the agreement itself is a long-term security guarantee because Russia will not want to attack Ukraine if American businesses and workers are in the country. So, okay, whatever. Trump has also said the U.S. has not received enough in exchange for the more than $100 billion it has already provided Ukraine since the war began. A sharp contrast from the policy of former President Joe Biden, who gave Kiev open-ended support in its effort to confront Russian aggression. So the point right here is, just like typical Edomites, they have the Hegelian dialect, controlling both sides of an argument, problem, reaction, solution. Okay? So Biden was being overly liberal with just handing out American taxpayer dollars to to the Ukraine to the point, where it was just nonsensical. And then you have Trump coming in, on the conservative, right wing whole thing with just trying to come off overly patriotic in a way, but being real tactless about it. He's not moving with any tact or any decorum. He's just basically disrespecting this man on a geopolitical scale where all of these different American allies and NATO and the EU can see it. And, neither side, whether it be Joe Biden or Trump, neither one of them, Biden didn't do it right and Trump is not doing it right, but that's all prophecy. Okay, so the point is, however you slice it, these things right here is going to lead to more division amongst Babylon the Great, the house of Esau. Okay. Not going to get that. Let me get more on this right here. Going back to Russia, it says Russia has proposed to the Trump administration a potential agreement under which the United States will gain some ownership of rare earth minerals and other valuable metals in parts of Ukraine controlled by the Russian military, according to 2 U.S. officials familiar with intelligence on the matter and another person briefed on the proposal. U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent previously presented Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky with a similar deal, which Zelensky initially rejected, frustrating President Donald Trump. Top aides to Russian President Vladimir Putin floated Russia's idea with Trump administration officials last week at a meeting in Saudi Arabia. The U.S. officials and the person briefed on the proposal said the options Russia had specifically prepared to discuss with U.S. officials included scenarios that could give the Trump administration access to mineral deposits in Donetsk, I believe that's Donetsk, and Zaporizhia, both of which Russia declared it had annexed in 2022, the 2 U.S. officials said. Okay, so, okay. The Trump administration has not committed to a U.S.-Russia deal on rare earth minerals, but has not ruled it out. The U.S. officials and the person briefed on the proposal said Trump is transactional. So Putin, understanding that, has come up with this counter move. A former U.S. diplomat with experience in the region said, adding that the Russians could clearly see both Trump's interest in Ukraine's natural resources and Zelensky's hesitation. Trump suggested an openness Monday to an agreement with Russia. We're trying to do some economic development deals. They have a lot of things that we want, Trump told reporters, referring to Russia. They have massive rare earth. It's very large. If we could do that, I think it would be a very good thing for world peace and lasting peace, Trump added. Just as we're doing with Ukraine, if we could do some economic development in terms of Russia and getting things that we want, something like that would be possible. You see, that's the thing though. This right here is this is what puts them in a crazy situation, because the rare earth minerals is pretty much Ukraine's only leverage. Okay, but if Russia is basically just going to come to the deal, if Russia comes to the table offering Trump this deal of, look, I can just give you the rare minerals from the part of Ukraine I've taken over. That right there is just basically, that would screw Zelensky, because that would screw Zelensky, and that wouldn't be a good look for America as far as NATO and the EU is concerned. Trump is, and this is what we always say, Trump, he always wants to, use the whole, he's a businessman thing and he's transactional as his selling point as to being a president, because none of these clowns actually understand that Trump is going to do exactly what the elites want him to do, which is ultimately the will of Yahawah Bahashaam Yahawashi. But the point is, just that transactional thing can be used against you. Just because somebody's transactional doesn't mean that they're perfect and they can't make any mistakes. Okay? So if he does that, if he takes the Russia deal, whatever that may entail, it's just all of these things right here, just basically nice little different potential recipes to speed up Armageddon. Because right here, Russia is basically trying to cut out the need for Vladimir Zelensky. You know, basically Russia is trying to cut out America's need for even dealing with Vladimir Zelensky. So if he manages to do that, they could easily, you know, they could use, it's a few ways that the Lord can have this play out. He can have it where the Russians basically use America's greed against them, you know, make a deal with them, give them some earth minerals from the regions of Ukraine they've already conquered, and just completely take over Ukraine and keep moving to take over these other different regions that was originally part of the USSR. All right. Or, you know, however it goes, it's just not going to go well for America, because these EU nations, they basically seen how Trump and Vance treated Zelensky, and they had a meeting. You know, those EU nations welcomed him with open arms right after he, you know, was basically kicked out of the White House. And you don't know, no one knows what all those talks entailed, but you know, whether they had a chance to have their own talks or not, these different EU nations see how America's basically crashing out. So, you know, however you slice it, this ain't a good look. For those that had a faith in Babylon, this ain't a good look. And right here, this article also said that Trump did not, let me see. Let me go back to it. I'm trying to get the exact quote. Basically, like Trump is not taking the Russia-US deal off the table. So Trump basically is weighing out both options. That right there, you know, just like in any transaction, you basically, you know, you're trying to make him sweat. You're trying to basically make Zelensky sweat so he can give you what you want, or however that goes. But hey, one way or the other, all these different things right here, this is exactly what the true prophets are looking for. Okay? So yes, we are indeed prophets of doom. That's the message that every prophet comes with, that Yahawah Bahashaam Yahawashi is truly dealing with. Let's get that real quick. Book of Jeremiah, chapter 28, verse 8. And it reads, "The prophets that have been before me and before thee of old prophesied both against many countries and against great kingdoms, of war and of evil and of pestilence." Right, that's the job of every prophet that's raised up in the spirit and power of Yahawah Bahashaam Yahawashi. True prophets which come from the nation of Israel, so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, and speckled-bird Israelite foreigners that look like heathen. Now, that being said, let me get another one of my favorite precepts that further expounds upon this, if I can find it. To any nation. It's in the Proverbs somewhere. Yep, I had it. I just skipped over it. Salakia. Proverbs chapter 14, verse 34, because one may ask, oh, well, why do the prophets have to prophesy downfall against many nations? Y'all are just negative. Nope, let's get it real quick. Proverbs chapter 14, verse 34. Righteousness exalteth the nation, but sin is a reproach to any people. Now, that's specifically talking about Israel, because we've been given the law, statutes, and commandments of Yahawah Bahashaam Yahawashi, so we're the only nation that can technically sin. But when you have a nation that's pushing sin and blaspheming the name of the Heavenly Father and oppressing his chosen people, which would be Babylon the Great, ran by the Edomites, the people of his curse, the judgment, then you have a problem. Okay? So it's only right that the Lord, he raises up his prophets again to prophesy and proclaim the downfall of this place because of his wickedness. Because if he didn't, you know, he wouldn't be about his namesake. And the Lord, he's about his name. His name will not be blasphemed. And those who blaspheme his name, is going to be consequences. So no one gets away. Esau has it in his heart that because the Lord hasn't judged him yet, and because he's still in his heaven, and he's still oppressing the Lord's chosen people, and he still can blaspheme with that whole God and Jesus crap and Roman Catholicism and all of his different technocracy crap, then he thinks that the Lord ain't going to touch him, but he is. The Lord is already making moves on Esau. Let's get that real quick. I meant to get this in a previous video. The book of Obadiah. I'm going to start right here. Obadiah chapter 1, verse 1 from the top. The subheading says, Edom will be humbled. And this is a future prophecy. It hasn't come into its fulfillment yet. All right, but it's on the way. It's really right around the corner. The vision of Obadiah, thus saith the Lord Yahawah Bahashaam Yahawashi concerning Edom. We have heard a rumor from the Lord Yahawah Bahashem Yahawashi, and an ambassador is sent among the heathen. Arise ye, and let us rise up against her in battle. Behold, I have made thee small among the heathen, thou art greatly despised. Right, because as we see, we're on the road to these different nations. They've always tolerated America without really liking America, so forth and so on. But all these nations, they made money off of America, but they don't like the way America gets down. And the more Donald Trump does what he does, okay, that's gonna be exactly what's needed to put the spirit on these different nations to despise these Americans. All right, verse 3. The pride of thine heart hath deceived thee, thou that dwelleth in the clefts of the rock. This goes into why they call themselves Caucasians, the Caucasus Mountains and all that other type of stuff. But even before that, they were in Mount Seir. Okay, whose habitation is high, that saith in his heart, who shall bring me down to the ground? Right, once again, Esau is in his heaven. Okay, he's sitting at the highest seat of government in the world. Okay, you have these Edomites that run Babylon the Great, and then you have the Amalekites that are in the Holy Land pretending to be us, pretending to be the chosen people. Okay, the head tribe of the Edomites in the tribe of Amalek, the Tic Tac hats, the 48ers that got a portion of our Holy Land via the Balfour Declaration. Okay, these Edomites, they run the world. And they have all of the technological means and whatever, where no nation, no man can physically oppose them carnally. This is why Yahawah Bahashem Yahawashi said, await thee upon him until he riseth up to the prey. Because he's the one that gave him all this, and he's the one that can take it away. Obadiah chapter 1 verse 4, though thou exalt thyself as the eagle, clear code words, this is talking about America. And though thou set thy nest among the stars, they got their little NASA, their Space Force, stuff like that. Thence will I bring thee down, said the Lord Yahawah Bahashem Yahawashi. Because when he sends Yahawashi back with the heavenly host, it's going to be a wrap. In the midst of World War III Armageddon, the Lord Yahawashi is going to return, and he's going to basically decimate the heathen's ranks. Verse 5, if thieves came to thee, if robbers by night, how art thou cut off? Would they not have stolen till they had enough? If grape gatherers came to thee, would they not leave some grapes? You see, and that reminds me of the law. When you get into our laws about not gleaning a certain part of our vineyard, but leaving some for the poor. Okay, this is basically the Yahawah Bahashem Yahawashi showing his sense of humor. He's playing upon that, because in our law, you leave some grapes in your vineyard for the poor and the needy. Okay, but this right here is saying that, look, man, Esau, he's so wicked, he doesn't get that treatment. He's going to be stripped bare. He's not going to have anything left. The Lord is saying Esau doesn't deserve to have any grapes left for himself. Nah, he's stolen everything. And the scriptures always speak about you reap what you sow. So what Esau has sown wickedness, theft, robbery, grape, deletion, fraud, all types of stuff. Verse 6, how are the things of Esau searched out? How are his hidden things sought up? Verse 7, all the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee and prevailed against thee. They that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee, and there is none understanding in him. Right, so basically all these different nations that Esau is cool with, that he have alliances with, they've already laid a snare for him. And he's not going to know when it's going to be sprung. All through the spirit and power of Yahawah Bahashem Yahawashi. And this is the terror of the Lord. But Esau, he's the wicked the Bible speaks of. He's profane. He's outside the temple. So he doesn't have the fear of the Lord. No matter how much he knows about certain aspects of our history and stuff like that, the Lord is not giving him the full scope of prophecy. He's not going to put that fear within him. Esau is not designed to fear Yahawah Bahashem Yahawashi. He's only designed to be on the worst part of judgment. Now, of course, anybody will be terrified once the Lord returns, but as far as fearing him like an Israelite can, no, Esau hasn't been designed for that, which goes to show you the Lord is not saving all nations. Obadiah chapter 1 verse 8, shall I not in that day, said the Lord Yahawah Bahashem Yahawashi, even destroy the wise men out of Edom and understanding out of the mount of Esau? And thy mighty men, O Teman, shall be dismayed. Because when you get into the Temanites, those are those Edomites that took over the region of so-called Germany today. Those Edomites are known for being intellectuals, you know, different psychologists and different engineers, so forth and so on. Okay, and ironically enough, Trump, he's a Temanite, but you know, you see how the Lord has put the Spirit on him to move in such a way that he doesn't show any tact. He's basically, you know, he's tacky as hell. He says things that don't need to be said if you actually want to preserve a nation. But once again, it's the Spirit of the Lord. He's putting the Spirit on Trump to say all of the wrong things, but actually the right things for those that want to be delivered out of Babylon the Great, which are the Israelites. Obadiah chapter 1 verse 9, and thy mighty men, O Teman, shall be dismayed, to the end that every one of the mount of Esau may be cut off by slaughter. You see, that's the destiny of America, Babylon the Great. Okay, because when you get into mounts, it also gets into governments. It doesn't always mean the literal mountain that a nation reside in. It gets into governments. Okay, so the mount of Esau is what? America, Babylon the Great. Obadiah chapter 1 verse 10, for thy violence against thy brother Jacob, shame shall cover thee, and thou shalt be cut off forever. You see? And Jacob is the Israelites, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. This is why we tell, and speckled bird Israelite foreigners, this is why we tell you, Jakes, you don't need to be carnal. You don't need to do anything stupid. You don't need to be following all these fake militant Israelite camp, you know, these agent Israelite camps that's basically already 501c3 on Esau's payroll, you know, controlling, you know, just all these different little psyops, all this COINTELPRO shit. This is why we tell you to just watch out, but you Jake's not going to realize it. You know, unless you're the elect, you're not going to realize it until it's too late. But, you know, everything happens in Yahawah Bahashem Yahawashi's own time. So this is why we tell you this. The Lord is going to be the one to cut off Edom. He's going to destroy both America and the land of Israel. The land of Israel will be built up because that's our holy land. We'll receive the full exact stretch of the land, not just that small little strip that they barely got after all the deception and lying and deleting and causing wars. No, we're going to get the full scope of our land back. But America is going to be completely leveled. America is going to get the Sodom and Gomorrah treatment. Okay, the great deliverance of the nation of Israel is going to happen here in Babylon the Great, all 12 tribes. Then the Israelites from that are scattered throughout the world, after that, they will be delivered. Okay? So that's all I have for this precept real quick. You know, not this precept. That's all I have for this lesson. Just wanted to get that that article out there. Hopefully this lesson was edifying and exhorting and straight to the point, to the elected nation of Israel, to the hopefully elected nation of Israel. Once again, I give all praises, honor, and glory to our beloved Heavenly Father, His only begotten Son, our beloved Lord and Savior, Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi Bahasham Yahawashi. Double honor as always to our beloved elder apostles and elder bishops of Great Millstone, who rule well, who teach well, who we learn the truth from daily, whether you're here forbearance, sincere salutation as always to the rest of the hopefully elected nation of Israel, which consists of our sincere elders and Akim of Great Millstone, and the Akim done that teach the likewise doctrine, and all truth with sincerity with diligence, the speckled bird, Hebrew Israelite foreigners scattered among the heathen, that look like the heathen, the sincere Akim of the nation of Israel that rehearse the righteous acts of Yahawah Bahashem Yahawashi in truth and sincerity, and the sincere Akwath that listen in silence and meekness as the scriptures command to do so. Kwame Sharala and Ababa Ball. We almost out of here. Adawan Ratazah. We got next Adawan Ratazah. Shema Yasha Allah Yahawah Alahayanawa Yahawah Achad wa Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi Bahasham Chakwadash Babakusha 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 Shalach Rayam wa Ainashim wa Haragyam wa Ashim wa Abadim wa Mawathim wa Mashapatyam, all call Adawamyam wa Gawayim wa Ayabyam Nawa Wababal 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 Aitha 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 the water of the Yad to Wab Aman. Shalom.